It reminds me of Beetlejuice when it says it's showtime. What's up? Hello, all you fantastically fine feathered friends here on the Dividend Dive. And what's going on? It's been another week, and we've already started the next week because it's Sunday. We don't control these things. The weeks just keep rolling, and there's nothing we can do about it. So sit down, sit tight. We'll hang out for an hour, find out what you're buying, and share a few ideas, talk some investing, whatever the heck you guys want to talk about within reason. Not going to get in any kind of bizarre. Well, I guess it's subjective to whatever somebody identifies that as. But hey, we're here. You're here. I'm here. We're all together. Do you guys ever look at the thumbnails? I try to put something different on every time because obviously, I guess I reuse the same thing. I change the number because it really doesn't matter that much, I don't think. So look at it. Hassan, you took a half position in Otis. Fantastic. Yeah, Patel looking at UNH earnings, right? So no, but we're going to get to it, Arco. I'm glad you look at it. So actually, I'll just start it off. While we let a few more people filter in, I just got back about an hour and a half ago from German Fest in Milwaukee. So I was there all weekend, friends and family. Do you guys ever do this? This is fun. I completely forgot this is a Torque roll of toilet paper. And I must have my family trained well because I was unpacking my bag and I found that in there. I was like, yes. I'm like, one of my kids threw it in there because they know we paid for the room. You paid for the toilet paper. Why not get a free roll for the ride home? You never know. You don't need it. Thank God. You stock it. It boosts your lifetime supply, whatever you'll need of toilet paper, down by 1 and 2. So, I'm sure when I'm 98 years old, that'll factor in somehow, and I'll be, that's me. That's how frugal I am. Just little things like that. So, Fast Eddie, call me Rush, man. I don't care. So yeah, that's what we did. We were busy all weekend, but if you guys get the Quarter app, you already know you can put in searching for keywords. One of the things I search for in the earnings that come out is share repurchase or share buyback, I think is how I have it in there. And one of them came up and I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that this was a dividend paying company. So right now, check it out. You guys are going to feel a little bit, I don't know. I used to have a sweet tooth. It's gone away a little bit, but you guys may have heard of this one. Let's start with it's called Lindt and Sprüngli. Sprüngli. I think you can say it like that, right? So Lindt and Sprüngli. Let me do that. There we go. Looks a little bit better already. So Lindt and Sprüngli is a chocolatier from Switzerland. They do pay a dividend, but we'll just the 10,000 foot view of it. Look at the brands that Lindt and Sprüngli has. They have over 2,500 products. Lindt, Lindor, right? So those, Lindor Truffle, Ghirardelli. I didn't realize that Lindt and Sprüngli owns Ghirardelli. It's going to keep going. They also own Russell Stover. I do remember a few people trying to nickname me Russell Stover back in the day. It never stuck. One of the things that stuck, a couple female friends of mine took to calling me Rusty Nail. That turned into Rusty Nails. Thought it was kind of badass, but at the time, yours truly was 17, about 6'2", 155 pounds, glasses, acne, all that, the works that teenage kids have. So it kind of was funny, right? Kid looked like that, and people are calling him Rusty Nails. Sounds like somebody from prison. But anyway, so Russell Stover, you got them. Caffarel, I don't know Caffarel. So for those of you that are over in Europe, Italy, I think you probably know Caffarel. And then a couple more. Hofbauer. Again, I'm not familiar with Hofbauer, probably because I've never lived and experienced the unique I said Vietnamese. I tried to read that. It says Viennese charm. And then Kufferle, I don't know how to say it. That's another, hey, if you ever eaten Kufrlies and you get in there, I can't even say it. Shako Shermchen. Okay. That's what you get. That's the best you're going to get. So that's, I don't know. Would any of you guys buy this? Again, here, just real quick on Simply Safe Dividends to give you a little bit more flavor, pun intended, of Chocoladfabriken Lindt and Sprüngli. Gee, I know, right? Those, some of the tildes and things don't transfer over, but that's what they're calling them nowadays on Simply Safe. But yeah, they don't rate them. 35 billion market cap for Lindt and Sprüngli. Dividend growth fast, and yeah, here's the dividend growth right there. Pretty dang quick. I was surprised for a chocolatier, but their last one, 18%. Fast dividend raise, and obviously there's incomplete data here. I'm guessing this is because it's an American Depository Receipt, an ADR. But yeah, free cash flow payout ratio, it's up there. It's a little high. So there's some things. I would never invest in this. You see the cyclicality that, right, $2.07 of free cash flow per share is where it was in 2019. It's below there. So anyway, yeah, low to mid single digit sales growth and coming out of COVID, the one black swan year, they got a big boost. Their sales go up and to the right. Their shares outstanding is pretty much stagnant, and their margins are just okay. Nothing incredible, just okay. And their net debt has been rising. The net debt rising, the interest coverage ratio has been falling. So we don't like to see that going in the wrong direction. But there you go, Lindt and Sprüngli. And you know what? We'll do. Now I'm going to come back and still rap at you guys for a little bit, and then we'll do news. See who else has jumped in here. So what do you guys think? Do you take toilet paper home with you when you stay at a hotel? Would you ever buy Lindt and Sprüngli, or do you just like Ghirardelli chocolate? You a big fan of their pre-market soar? Maybe. I looked at the futures. They were up slightly. Hey, at this point, right? I don't know. The market's just, I guess we've outlawed and outruled bear markets, recessions, crashes, corrections, pullbacks. We get a little bit. It's always like a rubber band now. It's not even the Nike swoosh logo. I mean, we're getting V's, right? UNH Patel. I know I put that out on Blossom asking who was buying it. Some of you are still buying it. Me personally, again, I'm going to sit on the sidelines. I'll be happy with my exposure. But quite honestly, I think there's a lot that is still facing them. They have DOJ investigations. There's market headwinds for their industry. The whole healthcare sector is down. They're down with it. They're probably the Titanic that's pulling it down, like their vortex. They're so big, pulling everything down with them, including my Zoetis, ticker ZTS. I mean, you always have governmental regulation that could come in, right? They've suspended, from what I remember, they suspended their forward guidance for the rest of the year. You had a CEO that suddenly stepped down amidst controversy. And, they got the old CEO back in there, and we'll see what he can do. So I'm hoping for you guys. I'm not going to invest in UNH, but for those of you that do, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you make lots and lots of money, because I love to see when everybody makes money. Yeah, I see Hassan again. You took that position in Otis, very strong. If you guys, who was it? Eddie, was it you? I think it was you, Eddie, with Comfort Systems. You sum of gum. That stock, I think when you told us about it on the channel, it was in the 300s. We looked at it. I liked it. I put it on the watch list. Didn't do anything about it, and it is up big, big. Hey, Journeyman. A nice, crisp salute for you, sir. I saw a lot of my naval brethren on the way home. We stopped with my brother-in-law and his family at Gurney Mills Shopping Mall, which is a Simon Property Group center. It is a big-ass mall. We did half of it, and yeah, I bought myself some Lee jeans, some Carpenter jeans for work, which somebody said hardest working welder. I do appreciate that. This week I'll be in Lincoln, right? It sounds like I'm a comic. This week I'll be in Lincoln, Illinois for 4 nights. So yeah, I'll be in Lincoln. Company's got a hotel. We got some work at it. See, we can tie dividends into it. It's at a FedEx freight facility. So if you're if you're driving through Lincoln, Illinois, stop on by and say hi. I'm sure I'll be sweating my ass off, but you know what? It's okay, because what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're working. I'm expending my labor. I'm putting a lot of sweat equity into making money. So I'm working for the money hard right now. But in the near future, the plan is that the money will start working harder for me than I work for it, if that makes sense. It's kind of the nutshell approach of what we're doing. Yeah, Billy, Lockheed Martin got creamed this week. They blew up, right? Or whatever we said. They got bombed. They got bombed in a bad way. I saw a lot of bombed people at German Fest. And that was, I think that's in the good way until the next day. And then it's the wrong way, or not the right way. I don't know. I love these ideas. Boaz, you added more Novo Nordisk. Yeah, that's a Swiss company. No, they're Danish. The Danes and the Swiss are two different. Yeah, right. Should be better on that. The toilet paper snowball, dude. That's the comment. I don't think I can. What happens if I do that? I put a star on it. I don't know what that did, but that is, if you just tuned in, I was showing you guys, we stayed at a hotel last night in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, went to German Fest, and one of my kids grabbed the toilet paper and took it home with us because I've trained them well, you know? KMB equals toilet paper. You know what? I didn't even look up who Torque is. TORK. I don't think that's Kimberly Clark. I should have looked that up. If anybody's bored and you want to throw that into Google real quick. Bill William. Sorry. I don't know if you go by Billy Black. Maybe that's, you continued adding to a treasury bill ladder you're rebuilding. How does that work? If you can tell us, I haven't looked into that too much, probably because of my age, but from what I think I remember reading, right? Whatever, if you buy T-bills that expire, I don't know, every 3 months, 6 months, every year, then you do it, you stagger it. So you always have, as soon as one comes, you get the cash from it, right? You buy another one at that same interval and you have like 3 or 4 of those going or something like that. Yeah, Kimberly Clark has been down too, John. Yeah, I don't think with our one little roll, I'm pretty sure we didn't. They say don't buy Costco Kirkland brand toilet paper. That's the one thing you shouldn't buy, and I don't think we have. So I don't intend to find out. Adam, are you still in China? What's up, man? Yeah, I was telling everybody, if you just popped on the Rusty Needle, we were looking at Russell Stover, which is owned. We shared an idea already. Right out the gate, right off the hop, Lindt and Sprüngli. I'm going to butcher that one. And yeah, it's a dividend paying company. It's an American depository receipt, which, how do you guys feel about ADRs? You know, I had experience with NEO once upon a time, also with Diageo, because I believe Diageo is also an ADR. And it doesn't feel like you have full ownership in the business, right? Because the ADRs, the American depository receipt, you own a piece of paper reflecting, I think, a financial institution's ownership stake, which, by the way, that kind of sounds like the tokenization, right? We were talking about Robinhood tokenizing OpenAI, and what was the other one? SpaceX, right? SpaceX and OpenAI, that Robinhood will buy a private equity stake because they're not publicly traded. So Robinhood will buy a stake in whatever it is. Say they buy a $10 million stake in OpenAI, then they will create, tokens that can trade on Robinhood that you can buy, and the tokens will trade up and down, whatever. But there's no financial audits for these privately traded companies, and you don't have any ownership stake in the business. So it's clearly just speculation. I don't know. I'd have to think about that now, because again, when you buy an ADR, right, I think, Morgan Stanley and such can buy a big stake in Lindt and Sprüngli, and then they are the, I don't remember the name, but you're essentially they own the receipts that reflect that ownership, I think is how it goes. And that's what you're buying when you see ADR. You pay a small fee to them for that too. But the ADRs do not, I believe, hold any voting rights. So it kind of feels like you really, even though who votes, I've never voted, you don't really own the business. So yeah, I think you're talking about Lindt and Sprüngli. I think you would pay foreign taxes on that too, I believe. But yeah, I think with an ADR you do that too, because I think they're passing those foreign taxes onto you. Got Honeywell from Mr. Oh, I found another fun company when I was researching for the 2 videos ago, the cheap stocks. But yeah, I'll share that one. Tell you only take the soap home. Hey, we all love being frugal. I love it. Look at, you got more toilet paper takers in the toilet paper taking club. That's a mouthful, huh? So you do take it. Oh, but in Asia, the public ones don't have it. Oh, that sucks. I see tea. It says extra tea. That reminded me of Mr. T. Mr. T. This is like a bizarre version of the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? Whatever it is. So yeah. So I took toilet paper home from Milwaukee, and Adam took toilet paper home from Asia, but you got him extra tea, which he put, and I see made me think of Mr. T. This is really bad. Mr. T had connection to Rocky. Rocky had connection to, unfortunately, the dearly departed Mr. Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, 71 years old. God rest his soul. And man, just for a quick moment, I'll just share with you guys what, some of you, apparently, I guess I look a lot younger than I am. But when I was a kid, WrestleMania was on TV. I remember I was watching with my grandfather. It was the epic one with Hogan and Andre the Giant when Hulk body slammed Andre. And I guess Andre was the one that came up with that, from what I understand. And he kind of helped himself up. But anyway, as a kid, I was losing my mind. I was jumping up and down like he's going to pick him up. He's going to crush him. Yeah, and he body slammed him. And it was just such a memory. My grandpa's laughing. I was losing my mind. I think I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. Was at 85, 86, something like that. I lost the, the wrestling bug, I guess, somewhere when I got into high school. But yeah, man, Hogan was a big part of my childhood, and they're all going, right? You had the Saturday morning WWF Superstars. Pee Wee was on Saturday morning, right? They had like real Ghostbusters cartoon on. Yeah. So anyway, long diatribe. So we lost Ozzy and Hogan this week. And then Malcolm Jamal Warner, another person from my childhood, played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. So watch those riptides, everyone. If you get caught in a riptide, PSA, they taught us this when I was in boot camp for the Navy, that I guess channels form in the sand. And when the water goes back out to sea that came in on the waves, it'll fill the channel and create kind of a vortex that can pull you straight back with it. And it can go on for half a mile maybe. It can pull you pretty far out from shore and you'll be really tired. You can't touch the bottom. So if you're ever caught in one, you swim right or left. Look at the shore, see which way is right or left, and just and they say some of the big ones are 10 feet-ish. I mean, if you swim 10 feet right or left, you'd probably be out of it. So that could save some lives. And unfortunately, I don't know the full story, but they were telling me about it, what happened. So, but anyway, Rich is passing on the chocolate stocks. Yeah, Hershey chocolate, right? It's going up. Kevin only takes soap home too. All right, Kevin, I'm so far freaking behind. I'm going to pull one of you. Did I say UHN? UNH. If I said UHN, you know what? Hey, we're rolling. Kevin, that's a good one. I can find one, a pic of the Rusty Nails. And it was with a Z too. Remember, they would say Rusty Nails with a Z. So I'm sure I can dig one up, man. But you know as well as I do, Kevin, that back in the day, when this was my name, this was the mid 90s, right? Nobody had it. Everybody didn't just have a freaking camera on them 24/7, 365. You literally had to have the winding. That was what a lot of us had, the disposable cameras, click, wind, click. Yeah, Otis does have its ups and downs. That's my business does that too. That's good old escalators. We need them. And the damnedest thing about those escalators, when they break down, they become stairs. They should have a sign that says, escalator broken, sorry for the convenience, right? Now they're stairs. And a shout out to that. That's not my joke. That's Mitch Hedberg, another somebody that died too young. Comedian Mitch Hedberg. Look him up on YouTube if you don't know. Really, really good. Will you put a small position in ULTY since you get weekly dividends? Nah, man, because I just, me with Yield Max, my mind's made up. I got my mind made up, right? George Harrison. What is this? All the dead people from the 80s? Yeah, I've got my mind made up. That was George Harrison, right? Got my mind set on you. Good song from the 80s. Anyway, you see how usually we get distracted. I wouldn't. It's just too big of a return of capital that I don't know the full mix of it. I think just a large portion of it is your own money coming back. And I know a lot of people get upset, but even they don't know until the year end. They're just estimating the return of capital that is destructive, meaning it's not from I don't know, contract swaps, there's credit swaps, there's carry forward losses. There's all kinds of things that they can do to offset gains with past losses that they're carrying forward, and then they're giving you your money back. So it's not your money back in a destructive way from the fund. It's just gains that they've kind of been holding. And I'm just like, you know what? If the NAV, which most of these, the net asset value steadily erodes, tells me all I need to know. So, and then I know they'll say, what is it, to defend the NAV or something? You have to make sure you reinvest. But what is the point of that then? You're defeating the point of income if you have to reinvest back into more shares just to protect the NAV. I think they call it the net asset value. Keep it, man. And then you're paying a 1% expense ratio on top of that. And it's, whatever. We can talk about it later, but Torque is Essity from Sweden. No kidding. I did not know that. That explains the blonde hair I found on the toilet paper then, right? We did not. Diageo, dude, I agree. Great brands. Hey, I support Guinness, but they are still, look at what you guys do. You get me talking too much. Yeah, it's too many young people are not drinking as much. So, Chris, you bought CDNS. Yeah, we looked that up. What's up, man? We talked about it a little on Blossom. VOO and ASML. ASML, very interesting. William, you're answering the question earlier. I asked you about the treasury ladder that you're doing. So you buy them from Treasury Direct. You buy the bills and lengths of 4, 6, 8, 13, 17, 26, or 52 weeks. And then you purchase in the Treasury auction or increments of 100. Yeah, and so whenever you have money come due, you just buy one more out, right? Yeah, RIP Hulk. All right, I'm getting there. Billy, Billy, you live over in Asia. The Asia bathrooms sometimes don't have toilet paper. That's crazy. I've never been to. I've been to the Middle East. That's not Asia, is it? I should know my geography. If the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain and Oman are in Asia, then I have been there. But yes, fun quick story. We were on a snorkeling excursion from Dubai to the Gulf of Oman, stopped at a gas station halfway, and the bathroom there at this gas station or the petro port, whatever, it was a tiled hole in the floor. That was it. I don't even remember a sink. This is, again, going back almost 30 years, so it's getting a little fuzzy, but I remember we were like, oh, have fun in the bathroom, Yeah. WrestleMania, every Friday, Saturday night. Yeah, I know a lot of you love it. All right. Lucas, thank you, man. That was 87, the slam heard around the world. That makes sense. So I was in third grade going into fourth. So in the fall of 87, I started fourth grade. And I believe that was like, wasn't it summer? It was like spring, summer of 87. So yeah, I would have been in between third and fourth grade then. Man, how time flies. But it's such a memory that is just burned into my head. But Matt says it was 86. So yeah, anyway, guys, it was 86, 87, maybe even 85 I'd buy. I was a little kid. And you know what, Adam, that's funny because what you're saying there is superstars. We have a superstar in the investing community. It's Warren Buffett. The way I like to define superstar of anything, whether it's a sport or finance, movies, whatever it is if you don't watch basketball, okay, put it this way. I don't watch soccer at all. I don't watch soccer. I can name 2 soccer players, David Beckham and Lionel Messi. And there's a third guy that I would recognize the name, but I see it escapes me. So that tells me there's 2 superstars in soccer. So same thing with wrestling. Dude, everybody knew Hulk Hogan. My grandparents knew Hulk Hogan. If you knew Hulk Hogan, now my grandma didn't know Big John Studd, didn't know Junkyard Dog, Ricky Steamboat Dragon, or Hillbilly Jim, but my grandma knew Hulk Hogan. So that means Hulk Hogan was a true bona fide superstar. So Warren Buffett, many people know Warren Buffett, don't know a damn thing about investing, but they know Warren Buffett. So he is a superstar investor. All right, George Harris. All right, I love it. All right, I'm almost caught up with you guys, and then we'll look at. Well, I would only, dude. Is it really a congrats because they're up from where I've sold? So, Well, I guess your work is done here, George. Huh? You're like, I guess you're like maybe you're Sam Beckett, since we're all about the 80s and early 90s from Quantum Leap. You're trying to put right what once went wrong. And then once he completed it, he was able to leap. And I was always trying to get home. So didn't. Oh, it's funny, Kevin. Everybody, I can only imagine things I will never say here that will go to the grave. Nothing illegal, but just things people did. And anybody that's, grew up before everyone had a camera in their pocket, you saw things, you were a part of things that were just, you didn't want anyone. So I can relate, man. And same thing with, I've heard professional athletes and all the sports say they were so glad that people didn't have cameras everywhere because it was out of control, things they did. And they're like, the suspensions, it would have been crazy. So the only African part is Egypt. Okay, cool. So, all right. Oh, Kevin, look at you. Always got to be hey, everybody, this is Kevin Burgess. He's a one-upper. So I'm bringing my laptop tomorrow, Kevin. So I'll tune in from my hotel room while I'm doing some research, catching up on the Berkshire annual letters. Oh, Michael. Yeah, dude. Perfect. Pele. Hell yeah, man. So we'll do news here. I know some of you have tuned out, but it's okay. We got Honeywell for Mr. Ortiz. We'll look up and news. We'll do news. So, but let me get to John's question here. He says, every time he looks at the S&P beats all ETFs total return, why not just buy S&P and chill? It's different goals, right, John? So, and it's a very legitimate question you ask. And the only one that can really answer that and take advantage of that is you yourself. You have to have a decision to make, right? A lot of people are looking for income and they're not worried about growth, right? And I think the easiest thing that I see is the dividing line is between who is in wealth accumulation and who's in wealth preservation. So anyone that is not living off their income, I think, is trying to grow your wealth. You're in wealth accumulation. I think you want to grow your wealth. The best way to grow it is, again, it's really hard to beat, as we've almost discussed ad nauseum, the S&P 500 over what, a 20-year period, 92% of professional fund managers fail to beat the S&P 500. And then I think even if you go out 30 years, it's even worse. It's 98 something crazy percent. But yeah, that's what you have to decide, John. If you're in wealth accumulation, you want growth. But if you're, and that's what I think a lot of people get tripped up. I was talking with Ryan about that with a lot of these high income funds. It's like, why are people in their early 20s going for these super high income things? Anything that's paying you a high income is not plowing that back into the business or into the fund. So you have to kind of question, like, why do I want all this income? And people will say, well, I'll buy dividend stocks with it. And again, okay. And this is not right or wrong, just my take on it. But with those high income things, I think they're great for retirees. And again, Ryan and Ari talked about this on one of their deep ends a couple ago, that you probably don't want to be there. If you're in wealth preservation mode, sure, you want the income, the net asset value slowly declining. Maybe you view it as kind of like a quasi annuity where the principal is slowly eroding, but you're getting a lot of income. Okay, fine. But man, for people trying to grow their wealth and compound their wealth, I think they're awful. I think a lot of people are just getting hung up thinking it's free money, it's a free lunch. But baby, as they say in the stock market, there is not a free lunch. And as I said that, I thought, well, over the past 100+ years, the S&P 500, and yes, it didn't exist, 100 years ago, but they can kind of gauge it. It's about a 10% return. And 10%, and a lot of people don't want to be average. They don't want to play that game. They want to try and beat it. But 10% compounded every year after year after year for decades is really impressive. So I guess that's a way of answering your question, John, is that my guy on the Dividend Talk podcast, European Dividend Growth Investor, EDGI, has said he had a brilliant term. He calls it the total return police, because he'll say, I'm buying this dividend stock, and then somebody shows up and they'll say, but the total return of the S&P 500 beats the total return of your dividend stock. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I don't care. And I struggle with that. Because I'm like, but if I were to have just bought, VOO or VTI and reinvested the dividends instead of buying this dividend stock, I would have more money. So isn't that kind of the game if you're in wealth accumulation, to have more money? So that's kind of why I'm also shifting and working toward that 85% allocation of 85% funds and 15% individual stocks. And I know Kevin's almost flipped on that, but Kevin's been investing a hell of a lot longer than I have, which is why you should watch his channel too. High tech, kind of two companies going in different directions. I'll just answer that quickly and say Pepsi's probably a hold, I would think. And Costco, I really want to buy it in the mid 800s or lower. So I'm holding for that. I do think you can pay too much for a business. I guess you would kind of think of it as like, would you buy a business if somebody wanted to sell you go down to the bakery in your town, whatever that bakery is? Could you imagine just them saying like, hey, you want to buy my business? You're like, okay, I'm interested. And they just, how much do you want for it? Just give me money. I'll tell you when it's enough. Like, you would never do that. You would never just go and buy a business and just pay them whatever the heck they were asking. Right. So, so there's a little bit of valuation to it. And I know I preach about, you can't predict the future. And if you think something is going to be more profitable 10 years from now than it is today, because earnings, right, profits drive the stock price should be higher, especially if they're buying back shares. So, all right. Yeah. And Ryan, I did see you pop in, man. And then we're going to do news right now because you guys, I love it. These little Ollie in the, well, I'm looking for EPD. I'm going to buy EPD in the taxable account. I just held it in the wrong place, and that was something I learned, man. So, but you know what? Hey, I guess we could just let George, you're an aficionado, a professional of sorts. You just go through the whole portfolio and give the proper allocations and, you know, so, all right, here we go. We'll do a little bit of your newsy news. And I didn't get it started because we were looking at Lindt and Sprüngli. By the way, if you missed that, who owns Lindt and Sprüngli? Let's see. We did these. I think this is where we left off. Yeah, ConAgra, because I tweeted this out or put it out Monday, that they downgraded from 41 to 40. Big dividend downgrade, everybody, right? But I think they're just trying. I should ask Brian Bollinger. Say, you guys just trying to cover yourselves because right now it's official that ConAgra has the unsafe rating of 40. So there you go. Dividend yield of almost 7.5%, way above the 5-year average. That should, and the dividend has been frozen. So you should be, I don't know. You should be cautious. When the market's waving that big red flag, be cautious. Chevron, they refreshed, or what they do? They refreshed their outlook. So remember, Simply Safe has outlooks where it's not AI generated. It's people giving their thoughts on a company. So it's very unique. And it's, I guess, a one-of-a-kind take, right? So they refreshed their outlook and their safety score of 90, very safe, which, by the way, what's that yield? That's about, okay, it's gotten a little beat up. It's where their 5-year average. The BlackRock Health Sciences Trust, ticker BME, was downgraded from 60 to 50. So that, I'm guessing, might be a closed-end fund. I don't know for certain, but that's my guess with that. If anybody knows or want to fix it, tell me. I don't care. I do. Community Trust, ticker CTBI, raised that dividend 13%. Look at that for a regional bank from Kentucky. And that name threw me. So, yeah, regional banks. Do you guys own any? Are you buying any? Do you own CTBI? Campbell's Soup, Ian Lopuk, he's been buying Campbell's Soup. They reaffirmed their safety score of 60, borderline safe. And Ian's buying it again. He thinks it's pretty undervalued. But I don't know. It just looks meh to me. But I would take it over Dow. Dow Chemical, or Dow, just Dow, right? Not Chemical anymore. They cut their dividend by 50%. And again, this is one of the reasons I sold LyondellBasell, is because when management is so heavily tied to a commodity like they are, that they don't control the supply of the commodity, and funky things happen. Supply and demand, and that will affect the business. I guess supply and demand's on everything, right? People aren't demanding McDonald's anymore, then that's going to affect their stock price. But there's very little management can do, and they're kind of at the mercy, from what I understand, of the commodity that they are tied to, which is one of the reasons, again, why I sold out of LyondellBasell, and they were bankrupt, just over 10 years ago. A couple more. Stanley Black & Decker, token dividend raise of 1.2%, just to keep that dividend king status going, right? 58th consecutive year of dividend growth. Healthcare REIT got a dividend upgrade. This is Ventas's, or just Ventas, right? Ticker VTR. So good for them. I won't be buying them. And then the last one, Kellanova, even though they are being acquired by Mars. Again, it's not official. It can always still fall through, but they did raise the dividend. That's interesting. I wonder why. I don't know why they raised it one more time. So they're going private, but they've paid the dividends without interruption for 100 consecutive years. And remember, when they go private, they can always be made public later on, right? I think that happened with Levi's, right? Levi's used to be public, then it went private. Yeah, Eddie, they do. We have history on our side with stock prices always going up and to the right. And dude, and that's the great thing with, Ortiz, we never looked at Honeywell. Let me catch up and I'll be back on that, man. I'm sorry. My brain's like, you forgot something. But the interesting thing with the S&P 500 or VTI if you're a newer investor and you don't know this, that when they're market cap weighted, and this is why I kind of like the market cap weighted, is that the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest, right? Will Smith's new hotness, whatever that is, the cream of the crop will rise to the top. House of Pain. The cream of the crop will rise to the top, like Nvidia did, like Facebook did. But 7-8 years ago, they weren't anywhere near the top. Something else was at the top, driving it and pulling it higher. So we don't know what's next. But if you own the whole market, you don't need to know what's next, because you either own it, or when it comes into existence and makes its way into the market, if it gets big enough, and it's just like I guess a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because, man, it's an interesting thought, because the passive dollars, 2 times a month, right? Every other week, when most people, they automatically have money put into their 401ks, they're automatically buying. This is automatically pushing the market higher. So, some people think there's a breaking point, and we haven't seen anything like this, and it just keeps growing. And when you have these Mag 7 at the top, right? Aren't they like 35 or 40% of the S&P 500? Because you got them, and then there's the S&P 493, right? The other 493 stocks. But 40 cents of every dollar or so is going into those 7 names, whether they deserve it or not. So I don't know where it turns out, but that's why fundamentals and valuation, I mean, one could say that this is why MMT, right? Modern market theory, right? Is what it's called, is that it's efficiently, or EMT, the efficient market theory. That's what I think I'm looking for. So if markets are efficiently priced, I think there could be a little truth to that, because at least at the top, I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts, right? At the bottom, which is why if you're looking at small caps, micro caps, even mid caps, those aren't going to be as affected as those at the top, where you just have money just flooding into them every 2 weeks, no matter what. So I think Apple, if you didn't have that, it probably would be down a little bit more. So, but yeah, no matter what you pay for Costco in 10 years, it'll be worth more. Dude, Eddie, I struggle with that, man. I do. I struggle with that. And, but yeah. Camel's payout rate is starting to get a bit questionable. We'll look at that in a second, Ryan, if you're still watching. And how was the staycation, man? Price is still high there on the Vegas Strip. I'll be out there in October. We still haven't bought our plane ticket. We got the dates picked out, but yeah, it's funny, Michael, tied to a commodity, but I don't think it's as dependent as Dow and Lyondell and a few others are on some of the chemicals that they need, right? But yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what I've heard, like Chris Bloomstrand talk about, why he says you could buy Costco here, but to get a really good return on your money, it's going to take a long time. So it's, I don't know. I'm holding tight. I still have exposure in the index funds, but that's a good point though, Michael. Talking about tied to a commodity, right? Cocoa prices are heavily influencing, but Hershey still does have other products that don't use cocoa. So I think that's where a little bit of the differentiator is, Pirate's Booty, right? They got Pirate's Booty, Dots Pretzels. And I know that's not as big of a driver as their chocolate. They have the theme park, right? They have the theme park. So you can start looking at the different things that Hershey makes money on that the cocoa commodity doesn't directly go into. And yeah, it's a huge chunk, right? It's the chunk of their business, but it's not everything. And I think that's what helps them weather the storms, right? Is that if it's 100% like Lyondell and Dow, then you got problems. As far as I know, there isn't a Dow theme park that they can bank on and make money off of. That would be, I don't think too many people would be bringing their families to the Dow amusement park. Just like the chemicals, like, hey, you can go on the polyolefin chemical ride, kids. Come on. Bill, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to be like, yes, in a roundabout way, I was saying that, right? There's the opportunity cost, and yeah, they don't. So the only pushback I would say is, Bill, they don't. Uh, okay, I'd read the bottom part. So the front part, I would say, is that individual stocks don't always go up into the right. The stock market has always gone up into the right over its lifetime, and that is because new innovations happen, things become more efficient, businesses become more profitable. The businesses that don't, they're supposed to die out and fall away. They should never be zombie businesses where ZIRP, zero interest rates, are keeping them alive, right? So the market as a whole should creative destruction. Those companies that can't keep up, that are headed toward death and dying and shrinking, they'll fall away. But the companies that remain will innovate, be more profitable, keep growing their earnings, and that's going to keep the market going up and to the right, from what I understand. So theoretically, as long as innovation keeps happening, ingenuity, people want to keep building that better mousetrap, the market will keep going up into the right. But it's not going to be every day, month, week, year, might not be even every 2 years. But when we zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out, it's always gone up into the right. And yes, you could say it's more extended, but even then there's pushback, because you look at the monster run up we've had recently, but a lot of the companies at the top are not capital intensive businesses like the railroads were, that used to drive the market right when the railroads made up the bulk of it. So you could say the market has become more efficient in that regard. So it's justified that it's more capital light, right? Buffett and Munger always wanted those capital light businesses where you didn't have to keep plowing high amounts of money back into the business. So, but yeah, anyway, so I guess I agree with part 2, but not so much part 1. But yeah, EMH, thank you. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about you, Jay. We're going to get there. We'll look at Honeywell. MAGY fund. Oh no, is that a yield max fund? If I see Y on the end of it, I just assume tell me it's a yield max fund, man. And I wouldn't say I like the Mag 7. I don't know where we're going to go from it, but I don't think it's healthy that money just keeps flowing into these companies regardless of their fundamentals. So based just on their market cap. So it just keeps keep getting bigger whether it's warranted or not. So, but at some point, hello, fantastic time for apparently our it's the smoke alarm. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think we're okay. I'm a little warm, but it's all this heat coming off this guy. You see what happens, Jen? I get on a roll. I'm flapping my gums. There's so much hotness coming off of this. I'm setting smoke alarms off. Remember we used to have this problem when you met me? I used to set all the smoke alarms off. So I apologize, everybody, if my God, where's my mute button? I think she got it. So that was fun, everybody. You never know what's going to happen. Anyway, Kevin, I'll just say I understand it. I think there could be some validity to it, but I don't think I will ever agree with it. I guess I could say that. All right. I got to get this one to you, Jay. Don't worry, man. We're going to look up Honeywell. Did you get it, Jen? Look at, she's lived with me so long, she doesn't even care. She's heard all my jokes before, right? Dude, that's a great one. I forgot about that. The Hershey's theme park isn't owned. The trust owns it, which is why, right, when Hershey's, people were rumored that it was going to be bought out, that the trust would have to approve it. So it probably wouldn't have happened. I did not talk about the Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern merger, Trivon, and honestly, I've been gone all weekend. I didn't even read about it. So yeah, I agree, Bill. And like I said, man, I understand. If Apple's been struggling, it's still just got just billions of dollars flooding into it because it has a big market cap already. So, but we'll have to see. This is going to see what happens. Yeah, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one that didn't see that. Jay, I'm going to get that one into you. Cliff Asness. Yeah, yeah. I've heard him on a couple podcasts recently. All right. I thought I read something about, I know, guys, don't worry. She got it. And I probably should have muted, but sorry. All right, now let's look. See you guys. All right. What were we doing? Oh, yes. We're looking up Honeywell for Mr. J. Ortiz. So we will do that. I'll preempt that with this. Click that, and we'll slip on slippity slide. Slide, slippity slide. See, I'm goofing around. Apparently I couldn't say slide, slippity slide, and slide and type HON. Jay, just for you, man, it looks reasonably valued. We'll go quick. Dividend yield of 2%. It's in line with the 5-year average. Strong credit rating. You'd like to see that. Strong. Dividend safety score of 80. Oh, yeah, that's right, man. February, they're doing another split. I forgot about this. They are going to split into 3 independent companies. They will separate the automation and aerospace business while moving forward with the previously announced spinoff of its advanced materials division. So that's 3 then, right? So there'll be, if you own Honeywell, I think you'll get shares of the automation business, the aerospace business, and then advanced materials, I think is what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah. Honeywell automation is 50% of sales. Aerospace is 40% of sales. And advanced materials is 10% of sales, which I went to Cook County. So 50, 40, and 10 is 100. Bam, I'm good. So there's that. Forgot about that. 14-year dividend growth streak. They've slowed it down to 4.6% last. Going to go exit dividend August 18th. So if you want that next dividend of $1.13 a share, make sure you own the shares by just buy them on the 17th. Sorry, buddy. The dividend yield looks going quick here. The valuation, it looks reasonably valued based on the current price because they expect it to be 198 to 242. Yeah, you'd like to see these valuations, dividend yield a little bit higher than the 5-year. It's in line. So it's just okay, which, if you believe in it, it might be a good time to buy a quality company. So, earnings, free cash flow payout ratio has been dropping, which is good. Kevin likes to see the earnings payout ratio declining or stagnant. Yeah, free cash flow per share should hit an all-time high. A little bit of cyclicality in Honeywell. So, but again, you're going to get 3 shares of that business. So some people might not like that. What are you guys doing? What do you think about that? Again, total sales. I don't like that. I don't like to see where in 2018 they peaked and they're still not above where they were in 2018. Yeah. Shares outstanding, still buying back slowly. I'm sure their margins are high. Their margins are high as Snoop Dogg used to get. Looks good. Yeah, their margins are okay. Just super quick here. But net debt, don't like that at all. Net debt has been rising and the interest coverage ratio has been falling. So that's a little bit yucky. And then Ryan, if you're still watching, we looked CPB, their payout ratio. Let's see. God dang it. Dividend. That's what I wanted. Dividend yield, just again, sky high above. Market's telling you, hey, look out. That's right there. I know we're coming up on it here, but look at that dividend growth. It's really slow. So it's not a dividend growth company you want to be in. No, they had it frozen so long they weren't raising the dividend. Yeah, I don't know. I just, again, I know Ian's buying it and I looked at this. I just don't see anything to get, again, market telling you, saying, hey, be careful here. The dividend yield is way above the 5-year average. There's your payout ratios. So free cash flow payout ratio, no, it's not too bad. It's comfortable, toward the higher end, but it's comfortable for them. So free cash flow per share, just I don't like that trend. It's just been steadily declining. This is what I didn't like, and I'm not sure why Ian's buying it. I guess he's thinking forward. Shares outstanding, just flat, not really buying back. Total sales, at least, are still going up. Yeah, their margins they're compressing. Margins are dropping here for Campbell's Soup. All across the board, margins have been decreasing, although their net debt is not as high as it was, and their interest coverage ratio is too low for my liking. So, yeah, I'm not going to buy. I'm not buying Campbell's Soup. I don't know if any of you guys are. Yeah, I know Ian is though. I don't know why Ian is, but God bless him. I told him he should. He said it's 1% of his portfolio. So I wrote on his, I'm like, why not just put it in SCHD? But he likes it. It's an ancillary position, said it's always going to be ancillary, and he likes it. So yeah, sorry about that, guys, that alarm, Matt, do I own any stocks that don't pay a dividend? I currently do own one, and it is Harrow Incorporated, ticker HROW. It is a quick growing ophthalmic company. They do things for numbing the eye for cataract surgery, and it's better. It's a better product from what was out there. The eye stays numb longer. It goes quicker. The patients like it. They have products for dry eye disease and just anything to do with the eye. They also have a company called that it will anesthetize people. I think it's Melt is the it's been a minute. I don't remember it escapes me the name of the company, but it's an oral analgesic. No, I'm not a doctor, everybody, right? This is what you get. But my layman way of putting it, you put it in your mouth like a tablet, it dissolves, and it will sedate the patient to have surgery and things done. Right. So, oh, Sam. So, yeah, my wife took care of it. By the way, Sam, awesome. Thor. I would sure as hell remember your name. I don't. I want a crisp salute. You must be the end of the day. But, how are you reading it? Because the way I've been doing it, 2 pages a day. I underline it and I think about what they're saying. There's no hurry to rush through it. And it's just a fantastic thing. Today, they were talking about the managers, the management team, what they look for in managers. They let the managers do their own thing. Just you want somebody with integrity, just all the good things they look for. If a manager had a 400 batting average, or if they were based, they're not going to try and tell them how to swing the bat. They already know. They just want them to keep doing what they're doing. Why would Honeywell break into 3 different companies? I guess they're probably figuring that it is they're unlocking value, they call it, where the sum of the, right, kind of like Voltron, where individually, if you individually have those companies out there doing their own thing, that they are more valuable as separate entities than put together in the conglomerate. And you've seen that with a lot of companies deconglomerating? No, deconglomerizing. I don't know. Maybe that's a word. So they, reading it twice. Nice, man. So that would be my thought. And then, yeah, actually, that's funny because that last division is 10% of sales. If it goes out as a separate company and it has a really cheap valuation, another company will probably absorb it. So that was the advanced, what was it? Let me see if I can get it. The advanced materials, right? Looked up HON. So not Home Depot. Honeywell. Yeah, the advanced materials business. So if that advanced materials business has a small enough market cap, then a bigger company probably will just buy it, just eat it up for cash, you know? So I think that could be right. And exactly, UTX did that. Otis, Carrier, and Raytheon, all three have done very well. So that would be an interesting look at, Michael, to see if we could take what Honeywell was valued at. I'm sure we could do this, right? The Honeywell valuation, or maybe even stock price, you know, I don't know, before the split. And then now, because it's been a couple of years afterward. And that's, I think, why they did it. Because then those three, so Otis, if they were under the, not tutelage, the umbrella of United Technologies, they might not be able to dedicate the time, effort needed just to focus on Otis and what Otis needs, the love, care, and attention to let Otis grow and expand. So they may have been suffocating it somewhat. So I guess, you know, like let them go out on their own. They have their own dedicated CEO, their own board, people that are just trying to grow Otis and not the whole conglomerate. And it has done very, very well. So I think that's why. Bill's, I'm going to write that down. Lectio Divina. I've never heard of that. I love reading. It almost sounds like a Harry Potter spell. So I know it's not. I know it's not. But, well, everybody, look at you. 67 of you. Beautiful, beautiful people. I keep this short at an hour. You got stuff to do. I got stuff to do at the end of the week. We have another childhood icon. Not going to be Hogan. It'll be the one, the only Paul Rubens. So everybody, I got to do it this way because StreamYard, they nixed the uploading videos. But yeah, guys, I love you. I thank you for stopping by. And again, come back next week. Bring your questions. Bring what you're buying. Doc, sorry you're late, man. I love it. I see you. I see you there. Thank you for popping on in. And everybody, I will see you in the next live stream.